The annual tradition of the president pardoning a turkey at the White House is dumb. It's not just childish, it's ridiculous. It's a waste of time, it's idiotic. And it started back in 1989 with George Bush Sr. and has been an annual tradition ever since. But leave it to President Trump to actually make it entertaining and fun.
The turkeys being pardoned today go by the names of Gobble and Waddle. When I first saw their pictures, I thought we should send them, I shouldn't say this. I was going to call them Chuck and Nancy. But then I realized I wouldn't be pardoning them. I would never pardon those two people. I wouldn't pardon them. I wouldn't care what Melania told me. Darling, I think it would be a nice thing to do. I won't do it, darling.
He then mentioned that the Justice Department discovered that many of the pardons that were supposedly issued by Joe Biden at the end of his term to Biden crime family associates weren't signed by old Joe, and he actually didn't know that they were being handed out like candy because his staff used the auto pen, which is just a mechanical device that retraces Joe Biden's actual signature. Basically, they photoshopped his signature onto a bunch of these pardons, which for some reason, because of one of the legal loopholes in our corrupt government, they are still considered to be valid. But then he cracked this joke.
Into a terrible situation caused by a man named Sleepy Joe Biden.
So the turkeys now got roped into a terrible situation.
He used an auto pen last year for the turkey's pardon. So I have the official duty to determine, and I have determined that last year's turkey pardons are totally invalid, as are the pardons of about every other person that was pardoned other than, where's Hunter? No, Hunter's was good. That was the one pardon, Pam, that was good, right? The rest of them are all invalid. I don't know what the hell you're going to do about that, but now we're going to take a little of the joking. That is a mess.
The only pardon he actually signed was for his son, just to make sure that there were no legal loopholes so that they couldn't retract it and then re-indict him.
But they're hereby null and void. The turkeys known as Peach and Blossom last year have been located, and they were on their way to be processed. But I have stopped that journey, and I am officially pardoning them, and they will not be served for Thanksgiving dinner.
He's always the best when he goes off script. And if you want to save 20% off, how's that for a transition into a plug for the merch? But stay tuned because there's plenty more to come in this video. But seriously, you can save 20% off for the pre-Black Friday sale from everything on markdice.com by using the promo code Black Friday, original I know, one word at the checkout, including the Trump Claus knit sweaters and Trump Claus wrapping paper you could use to obviously troll your relatives. And there's a whole bunch of cool stuff over there. I just released a whole bunch of new mugs and drinkware this year, and now black mugs as well. So if you don't want the white mugs, there's black mugs with all the classic designs. So head on over to markdice.com or click the link in the description below. Enter the promo code Black Friday to check out to save 20% off and check them out. And with Thanksgiving upon us, we have the usual segment of libtards and Native Americans who are crying about it. Like this clown who posted this TikTok saying, "It's an annual reminder that if you celebrate Thanksgiving, you're a racist." Well, I got news for you, sir. Hundreds of millions of people celebrate Thanksgiving in America. So I don't quite think that's the own that you think it is. And by the way, genius, before the white man came to this country and tamed the savages, your different Native American tribes were always warring with each other, committing genocide long before the white man came here, not to mention enslaving each other. So thank God they came, because this is your culture, okay? And this is ours. But the award for the biggest loser of Thanksgiving this year goes to this clown who took it upon himself to post a PSA for white people on TikTok.
PSA for white people with racist family members going back to see family members on Thanksgiving. When your obnoxious Uncle Jim says something racist at the
I think you mean Uncle Mark. I think he's talking about me.
dinner table, don't be polite, don't just kind of accept it and move on. You really need to make him feel uncomfortable.
No. Normal people will laugh and then contribute other facts that hurt morons' feelings like yours.
Don't be polite, don't just kind of accept it and move on. You really need to make him feel uncomfortable. You need to kind of call him out and shut that down. Because racists cannot be allowed to continue feeling comfortable saying the racist that they say.
Actually, sir, or whatever your preferred pronouns are, you're obviously the one who is very uncomfortable. So you can just not show up to dinner because people like me are going to make even more racist jokes this year because of people like you. Like this other TikToker's meme illustrates, saying if I have $1 for every time I told a racist joke at Thanksgiving, I'd probably get robbed by some black guy. And this meme, which is just one of countless variations of the me pulling up to Thanksgiving dinner, knowing I'm the racist uncle now. Yeah! This has been another great year of people standing up and denouncing anti-whitism. As you know, it really wasn't until recently that, the culture changed because most of the mainstream conservatives were such cowards. They were still afraid to be called racist by pointing out the systemic anti-whitism. And so now we're seeing a lot of people saying things like this. She's responding to a comment from someone with black fragility saying, imagine being white. Ugh.
Lucky for me, I don't have to imagine. I'm not sorry that I'm proud of who my parents are and the culture of my ancestors. I'm not ashamed of who I am, and no amount of anti-white propaganda will ever make me ashamed.
What would you do if you woke up black? Blame everyone else for my laziness and shortcomings.
I'm not sure if this is AI or if this is an actual person. It's getting really hard to tell. But many of the Gen Z kids, young adults, are this based. Like this girl who goes by MK What About It on TikTok, who has over 80,000 followers from producing quality content like this.
According to the Stolen Land crowd, the Native American tribes lived in peace and harmony until the dreaded evil white colonizers showed up. Although it was early 16 to 1700s, there was no such thing as violence. No. The Native Americans spent their days creating vegan recipes, developing gender theory, and of course advocating for the rights of transgender and LGBT. Things like scalping and battling other tribes simply did not happen. And it's not like the entirety of human history across every single land and every single country is quite literally just conquest on conquest on conquest. And it sure is interesting how the same people who support mass immigration and open borders will suddenly turn into the biggest nationalists ever when it comes to any non-white countries. Because at least 70% of the stolen land argument is just ethnic hatred of white European people masquerading as a political position. In fact, when we say land was stolen, we don't discount other means such as legislation or war. We seek to delegitimize the ownership of land by whites. Point is, whites have no right over our land. That's why they are thieves. They want you to think they're super good people advocating for marginalized groups, when in reality, their empathy is selective and is only skin deep. They think some groups deserve right self-determination in homelands, and other people don't. In reality, the stolen land argument has little to do with morals, principles, or values, and everything to do with the fact that these people just hate white people. So Native American land is for Native Americans, Palestine is for Palestinians, and Ireland is certainly not for the Irish. And if you think that, you're actually just a big old fascist. These folks will go on and on about how this land belongs to the Native Americans while also acknowledging that Native Americans didn't believe in private property rights. In fact, that was something invented by Europeans. In truth, stolen land is nothing more than Marxists peddling their centuries-old toxic ideology, hoping that kids today are too dumb to remember millions that this ideology unalived in the past century. They don't believe that anyone should be able to own private property, and they want completely open borders so they can have worldwide socialism, which is just globalism. They advocate for mass immigration and open borders to destroy the idea of the nation state and sovereignty, and to usher in a single state. So no borders, no states, just something like, I don't know, maybe like a one world government. And I wonder who would run that.
Which reminds me, Mark Levin is going to be spending Thanksgiving complaining about Tucker Carlson, without a doubt. Posting this yesterday. Now, I believe almost 1 month into the meltdown of Tucker Carlson interviewing right-wing streamer Nick Fuentes, calling him Tucker Catarlson, because there's this crazy conspiracy theory out there that the reason why Tucker finally took the gloves off isn't because he's free of the constraints of corporate media from Fox News and had a little bit of extra time to go down some rabbit holes. It's because Qatar is paying him all this money. Even though Tucker Carlson has been loaded for years, he has generational wealth, doesn't need the money. But the Carlson litmus test, Mark Levin says. Going forward, I'll insist that every Republican who wants our votes declare if they stand with or against lunatic Tucker Carlson. Speaking of lunatics, the ones who run the Los Angeles Times are, of course, upset with Thanksgiving, since Los Angeles is really largely dominated by non-Americans, the foreign invaders who've controlled that city now, with over 25% of California's population being invaders from Mexico, foreign-born, as the governor proudly proclaims, brags. But they say that it's time to eliminate national holidays, meaning Christmas because it offends Jews, and Easter because it offends Jews, and Thanksgiving because it offends lunatics, calling it racist. Eliminating national holidays is a promising idea. Start with the racist ones, they say. Oh, and this may be the best Thanksgiving meme ever. It's captioned, "Her, don't get drunk and talk about politics at Thanksgiving." Me, after a sip of water.
I will go to hell before I sit here and I watch this country and the world turned over to these savages. I'm done, I'm pissed, and I'm not putting up with it anymore. You Satanists want to sacrifice the West. You want to kill the beautiful goddess that is the West. You people are enemies, and we're going to get your asses, and we know what you're up to, and we're coming for you. So I've had enough of these people. Okay, so I've been containing this for the last week. That's why I've been in here sweating and getting pissed.
That, of course, is the great Alex Jones, and this is a meme that I made 5 years ago now, which I do believe ages like fine wine. It's a Black Friday meme where you use the promo code George Floyd and save 100%, which did get me temporarily suspended from Facebook after I posted it over there. But since we're not like those kinds of people, you can still save 20% off of anything from my online store at markdice.com this whole week and weekend. Use the promo code Black Friday, one word Black Friday at the checkout, including the new drinkware, which includes black and white coffee mugs for some diversity, and a whole bunch of beer glasses, not to mention the custom design Trump Claus knit sweater, which is not like a screen printing, it has the design woven into the yarn. And so the cutoff to get those is coming up soon, so get your orders in this week, this weekend, and the Trump Claus sweatshirt, whole bunch of different stuff there. So just head on over to markdice.com or click the link in the description below. Enter the promo code Black Friday at the checkout to save 20% off this week and weekend, and check them out.